My wife called me at work. I just inherited millions. Pack your things. Get out of my house. When I came home, divorce papers were waiting. I smiled, signed, and said good luck. She thought she'd won. She had no idea what her uncle had left in his will, or what I'd been hiding from her. My name is Henry Lane. I'm 52 years old, and I own a precision machining shop in northern Ohio. For the past 28 years, I've been cutting metal to tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch. When you work with that kind of precision, you learn that small details matter. A measurement off by a fraction can ruin an entire piece. I wish I'd applied that same attention to detail to my marriage. The phone call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was in the shop, checking a run of aerospace components we were making for a defense contractor. The machines hummed around me, a steady rhythm I'd known for decades. My phone vibrated against my hip, cutting through the noise. I pulled it out and saw Brandy's name on the screen. I stepped away from the machines to answer. Hey, what's up? Her voice came through crystal clear, and there was something in her tone I'd never heard before. Not anger, not sadness. Victory. Henry, I just inherited millions, Brandy said. No hello, no preamble, just straight to the point. Pack your things. Get out of my house. I stood there in my shop, surrounded by the machines I'd built my business on, and felt the world tilt sideways. Around me, two of my guys were working on a lathe, completely unaware that my life was imploding. What are you talking about? I asked, keeping my voice level. Uncle Raymond's estate finally cleared, she said. Everything's official. The attorney called me this morning. So I'm telling you now, pack your stuff and get out. Today. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 2:15 in the afternoon. Brandy, we need to talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, she said. I'll be at the house at 6. I expect you gone by then. The line went dead. I stood there for a moment, phone in my hand, and felt something settle into place. Not panic, not even surprise, really. Just a cold, clear understanding that the woman I'd married 27 years ago had been replaced by someone I didn't recognize. What Brandy didn't know was that I'd gotten a call on my own 2 weeks earlier. Raymond Mitchell, her uncle, had called me from the hospice. His voice had been weak, but his mind was sharp as ever. Henry, he'd said, I need to tell you something about the will. There are protections in place for you. Brandy doesn't know about them yet. When she finds out about the inheritance, she's going to make a move. Be ready. I'd asked him what he meant, but he just coughed and said, You'll see. Just trust the process. And Henry, document everything. So when Brandy's call came, I wasn't blindsided. I was prepared. I left the shop at 5, telling my foreman I had a family emergency. The drive home took 20 minutes, and I used every second to think. Raymond had warned me. He'd seen something in his niece that I'd been too close to see. And now whatever he'd put in that was about to become very important. The house was lit up when I pulled into the driveway. Every light blazing, like she was staging something. I walked into the front door and found Brandy standing in the living room, dressed like she was going to a business meeting. On the dining table sat a folder, papers arranged just so. You're actually here, she said, sounding almost disappointed. You told me to come home, I replied. She gestured at the table. Sign the papers. Divorce petition, separation agreement, property division. My attorney drew them up this afternoon. Sign them and go. I walked to the table and opened the folder. The documents looked official enough, but I've been around paperwork my whole career. These had no court stamps, no case numbers, no notarization. Just threads printed on expensive paper. Who's your attorney? I asked. That's not your concern, Brandy said. Just sign. I picked up the pen she'd left there and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd built a life with. The mother of my 2 daughters. And I saw nothing in her eyes but cold calculation. I signed where she'd indicated. Then I set the pen down, picked up my phone, and photographed every page. What are you doing? She demanded. Documenting, I said simply. I went to our bedroom and packed a bag. Clothes, medication, documents, laptop. Everything I needed. When I came back out, Brandy was on her phone, not even trying to hide the conversation. Yes, he's leaving now, she was saying. Everything went exactly as planned. I stopped at the door and turned back. She was watching me, waiting for me to break, to beg, to show some weakness. Instead, I smiled. A small, quiet smile. Good luck, Brandy, I said. Then I walked out. I checked into a Hampton Inn off Route 30, the kind of place that asks no questions and has cameras everywhere. Security wasn't paranoia anymore. It was common sense. The room was clean and anonymous, which was exactly what I needed. I set my bag on the bed and pulled out my laptop. Raymond's words kept echoing in my head. Document everything. I started with the bank accounts. Brandy and I had always kept our finances together. Joint checking, joint savings, the whole traditional setup. I trusted her with that. After all, she handled the household bills while I focused on keeping the shop running. I logged into our primary account and started scrolling through transactions. At first, everything looked normal. Mortgage payments, utility bills, grocery shopping. Then I started going back further. 6 months, a year, 2 years. That's when I saw them. Small transfers. 500 here, 800 there. Always to an account I didn't recognize. The account holder was listed as Patricia Reeves, Brandy's mother. My hands tightened on the laptop. I kept scrolling, my stomach sinking with each new discovery. The transfers went back 7 years. 7 years of steady, systematic theft. Some months it was just a few hundred. Other months it was several thousand. I opened a spreadsheet and started adding it up. The total came to $243,000. $250,000. Taken from our joint accounts, transferred to her mother's name, and hidden from me for 7 years. Money I'd earned with my hands and my business, siphoned away while I'd been trusting her to manage her household. I sat back in the cheap hotel chair and felt something cold settle in my chest. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't a sudden decision made in anger. Brandy had been planning this for years. The inheritance was just her excuse to pull the trigger. I took screenshots of every transaction, making sure the dates and amounts were clearly visible. Then I started looking at other accounts. Credit cards, investment accounts, our business line of credit. That's when I found the second thing. An email notification in my spam folder, dated 3 days ago. From our health insurance company. Request to remove Christopher Henry Lane from family policy, pending review. I clicked it open. Brandy had contacted Blue Shield Medical 3 days before her phone call. She told them we were already separated and requested that I be removed from our family health insurance policy immediately. I have type 2 diabetes. I've been managing it for 8 years with medication that costs $750 a month without insurance. Brandy knew this. She'd been with me at every doctor's appointment. She tried to strip my health coverage before telling me about the inheritance. If she'd succeeded, I would have been facing a medical crisis on top of everything else. My prescriptions would have run out in 2 weeks. With my blood sugar uncontrolled, I could have ended up in the emergency room. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated cruelty. I took screenshots of the insurance email. Then I opened my email and started a new message to Tom Patterson, the attorney I'd used when I incorporated the shop 15 years ago. I attached everything. The photos of the fake divorce papers, the bank statements, the insurance notification. The subject line was simple. Need immediate consultation regarding divorce and financial fraud. I hit send and checked the time. 8:30 p.m. My phone had been buzzing periodically with texts from Brandy, but I hadn't looked at them. Now I opened the message thread. The first one was from 7 p.m. Don't think you can fight this. I have lawyers. 7:15. You always were weak. This is better for both of us. 7:30. Answer me. 7:40. Fine. Be that way. You'll regret ignoring me. 8 p.m. My attorney will be contacting you tomorrow. I took screenshots of all of them. Then I typed a single response. All communication should go through my attorney. I'll provide contact information tomorrow. Her reply came within seconds. You can't afford an attorney. I set the phone down without responding. Let her think whatever she wanted. Raymond had warned me this was coming, and he'd clearly had his reasons. Tomorrow I'd find out exactly what protections he'd put in place. My phone rang. It was Mia, my older daughter. I answered immediately. Dad. Her voice was tight with worry. What's going on? Mom called me saying you moved out. Dad, what's going on? Mia asked again. I could hear the worry in her voice, and it cut through me. Mom called me saying you moved out. She's saying things about the inheritance and lawyers. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed and chose my words carefully. Your mom and I are having some serious problems, honey. I'm staying at a hotel for now. But I need you to know that whatever happens between your mother and me, it doesn't change anything between you girls and me. She said you left her, Mia said. Her voice had an edge now. She said you couldn't handle her success. That stung, but I kept my voice steady. That's not what happened. When things settle down, I'll explain everything. But right now, I need to ask you something. Did your mom ever mention anything about your medical school loans? There was a pause. She said she'd help me with them once the inheritance cleared. What? Just curious, I said. How much do you still owe? About $180,000, Mia said quietly. I'm in my second year. It's a lot, Dad. I was counting on that help. My stomach dropped. Brandy was already using money as leverage against our daughter. Don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. Dad, you don't have that kind of money, Mia said. The shop does okay, but not medical school okay. Let me worry about that, I told her. You focus on your studies. I love you, Mia. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of the hotel room and felt the weight of it all. Brandy wasn't just going after me. She was positioning herself to control our daughters through their finances. My phone buzzed with an email. Tom Patterson, my attorney, responding already. Can meet tomorrow 9 a.m. This looks serious. Bring all documentation. I replied confirming the appointment, then tried to sleep. It didn't come easy. The next morning, I arrived at Tom's office 15 minutes early. He'd been practicing family law for 30 years, and his office reflected that experience. Shelves lined with legal books, a desk covered in organized files, and a face that had seen every variation of human behavior during divorce. Henry, he said, shaking my hand. Sit down and walk me through everything. I spent 40 minutes laying it out. The phone call, the fake divorce papers, the stolen money, the insurance cancellation attempt. Tom took notes, occasionally asking questions, his expression growing more serious with each new detail. And you said her uncle warned you? Tom asked. Raymond Mitchell. He died 2 weeks ago, called me from hospice, and told me there were protections in the will. Tom leaned back in his chair. The estate hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the county probate office. You're listed as a required attendee. Me? I said. What? That's what we're going to find out, Tom said. He pulled out a legal pad. But based on what you've told me, I think Raymond saw exactly what his niece was capable of, and he tried to stop her. That afternoon, Tom and I drove to the probate office for what the notice called a preliminary estate review. It was a gray building downtown, the kind that smelled like old paper and decades of bureaucracy. Brandy was already there, standing in the hallway with a woman I didn't recognize. She was dressed in an expensive suit, all confidence and designer accessories. When Brandy saw me, her face went hard. What are you doing here? I was invited. I said simply. This is family business, she snapped. Mr. Lane was specifically requested to attend, Tom said, stepping forward. By the deceased. We were called into a conference room. A probate officer, named Mrs. Delgado, sat at the head of a long table, a thick file in front of her. She was probably 60, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. This is an unusual case, Mrs. Delgado began. Mr. Raymond Mitchell's will contains several specific provisions that require review before distribution can proceed. She opened the file. Mrs. Lane, you are the primary beneficiary of an estate valued at approximately $1.2 million. Brandy's companion smiled. I saw my wife's shoulders relax slightly. However, Mrs. Delgado continued, there are substantial restrictions. The estate includes 3 rental properties with sitting tenants. The will specifically states that these tenants cannot be evicted or have their rents increased beyond CPI adjustments for a period of 5 years. I watched Brandy's smile falter. Additionally, Mrs. Delgado said, looking at me, Mr. Lane has been appointed as an observer and compliance officer. Any major decisions regarding the estate must be documented and verified by him during the 18-month administrative period. That's insane, Brandy said. He's not family. Mr. Mitchell was very clear in his instructions, Mrs. Delgado replied. He specifically stated that no beneficiary may use estate assets or anticipated proceeds to force a spouse from a shared home without proper legal process and adequate support. The room went quiet. I felt Tom's hand on my shoulder, a silent message to stay calm. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Lane, this is David Foster from Foster Realty. Your wife listed your home for sale last night. A buyer submitted a $50,000 deposit. He's demanding contract signing today. Please call immediately. I showed the message to Tom. His jaw tightened. Mrs. Delgado, Tom said, I believe we need to discuss an unauthorized real estate transaction. Mrs. Delgado adjourned the hearing after documenting the unauthorized property listing. Tom and I walked out into the parking lot, and I immediately called David Foster back. He answered on the second ring, his voice tight with stress. Mr. Lane, thank God, he said. The buyer is here in my office right now. He's threatening legal action. Your wife assured him the property was clear to sell. Who is the buyer? I asked. Judge Malcolm Sterling. Retired federal judge. He's not someone you want to cross, Mr. Lane. My stomach dropped. A federal judge. Of course Brandy would find someone with serious leverage. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said. Don't let anyone sign anything. Tom drove. We made it to Foster Realty in 18 minutes. Inside, a man in his 70s sat in the reception area, perfectly dressed, radiating the kind of authority that comes from 3 decades on the federal bench. He stood when we entered. Judge Sterling, Tom said, extending his hand. I'm Tom Patterson, Mr. Lane's attorney. We need to clarify some things about this property. The judge's handshake was firm. I hope this is quick. I was told this was a straightforward transaction. We moved to a conference room. Tom laid out the situation methodically. The inheritance, the will's restrictions, the fact that Brandy had no authority to sell the house. He showed documentation from the probate hearing that morning. Judge Sterling listened without interrupting. When Tom finished, the judge turned to David Foster. Did you verify Mrs. Lane's authority to sell? Foster looked pale. She seemed very confident. She had documents. What documents? The judge asked. A letter from her attorney stating she had full ownership. No court filing? The judge pressed. No deed transfer? No probate clearance? Foster's silence was answer enough. Judge Sterling stood. Mr. Foster, I'll expect my deposit returned within 48 hours. Mr. Lane, I apologize for the situation. Your wife represented herself falsely. He paused at the door. I won't pursue criminal charges, but I will be documenting this with the State Real Estate Commission. After the judge left, I felt the tension drain from my shoulders. Tom smiled grimly. That could have been much worse. That evening, my phone rang. Emily, my younger daughter. She was 23, finishing her undergraduate degree at Ohio State. I answered immediately. Dad, I need to talk to you about something, she said. Her voice sounded strange. Controlled. What is it, honey? I want to see Mom today, Emily said. At the house. I wanted to understand what was happening. And I asked carefully. I recorded our conversation, she said. I need you to hear it. My heart rate picked up. Emily, what did she say? Just listen, Dad. I'm sending it now. My phone buzzed with an incoming file. I put Emily on speaker and opened the audio file. I heard Emily's voice first. Mom, I need to understand why Dad left. He won't give me details. Then Brandy's voice, sharp and clear. Your father's a weak man, Emily. He always has been. He built a little shop and thought that made him successful. I deserve better than spending my life with someone so mediocre. But you were married for 27 years, Emily said. Brandy laughed. It was a cold sound. I was planning this for years, sweetheart. The moment Uncle Raymond got sick, I knew this was my chance. Your father never suspected a thing. He was too trusting, too stupid to see what was right in front of him. What about me and Mia? Emily asked. What about us? You'll be fine, Brandy said dismissively. Mia will come around once she realizes I control her future. She wants to finish medical school. She'll need me. And you? You're smarter than your father. You'll understand this is just business. The recording ended. I sat in the hotel room, phone in hand, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. Dad, Emily's voice came through, small and broken. I'm so sorry. I didn't know she was like this. It's not your fault, I managed to say. I'm sending this to Mia right now, Emily said. She needs to know the truth. Dad, I'm on your side. Whatever happens, I'm with you. The next morning, I met Tom at his office. I'd forwarded him Emily's recording overnight. He'd listened to it 3 times, he told me, making notes each time. This changes everything, Tom said. It's evidence of premeditation, of using the inheritance as a weapon, and of attempting to manipulate your daughters through financial control. Can we use it in court? I asked. Ohio is a one-party consent state, Tom said. Emily was part of the conversation. It's completely admissible. My phone buzzed. Mia. I answered immediately. Dad, Emily sent me the recording, she said. Her voice was different. Harder. I've been up all night listening to it. Over and over. I'm sorry you had to hear that, I said. No, Mia said firmly. I needed to hear it. I needed to know who she really is. Dad, I'm done. I don't care about the money for medical school. I'll take out more loans. I'll work 3 jobs. But I'm not taking anything from her. Mia, that's $200,000, I said. You can't just. Watch me, she said. She thinks she can buy my loyalty? She thinks I'll choose money over you. I'm not her, Dad. I'm choosing you. After we hung up, I sat there feeling proud and heartbroken at the same time. My daughter was willing to sacrifice her financial future for what was right. Tom cleared his throat. There's something else we need to discuss. I've been reviewing the documentation from your Uncle Raymond's attorney. There's a package addressed to you personally. It was being held pending the probate hearing. He handed me a manila envelope. My name was written on the front in Raymond's shaky handwriting. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. All addressed to me, none ever sent. I opened the first one, dated 12 years ago. Dear Henry, I saw something today I wish I could unsee. Brandy was at the country club with a man who wasn't you. They were too comfortable together, too familiar. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't bring myself to destroy your family. I'm sorry. I'm a coward. Raymond. My hands shook as I opened another letter, this one from 9 years ago. Henry, I saw them again. This time I recognized the man. Derek Chandler. Your best friend. I've been sick about this for weeks. How do I tell you that the two people you trust most are betraying you? I can't, but I'm documenting this. Someday you might need proof. Raymond. I looked up at Tom. Derek Chandler. My best friend since college. Tom's expression was sympathetic. Keep reading. I opened the most recent letter, dated 3 weeks ago, written in barely legible handwriting. Henry, I'm dying, but I had to warn you. Brandy came to the hospice yesterday. She brought papers, tried to get me to sign them while I was on heavy pain medication. She wanted to change the will, remove your protections, make everything simpler for her. I refused. The nurse witnessed it. I'm changing the will one final time tomorrow. Every protection I can think of, I'm putting in place. You've been like a son to me. I won't let her destroy you the way she's planned. Be strong. Trust the process. Raymond. I set the letters down and felt something break open inside me. Raymond had known. For years, he'd known about the affair, about Derek's betrayal, about Brandy's planning. And he tried to protect me the only way he could. There's one more thing in the envelope, Tom said quietly. I reached in and pulled out a medical document. A blood type compatibility chart from when Emily was born 23 years ago. There were notes in Raymond's handwriting. Brandy, type A. Henry, type O. Emily, type AB. Impossible combination. I looked it up. A parent with type O cannot have a child with type AB. I'm so sorry, Henry. The room tilted. I read it again. And again. Emily wasn't my biological daughter. Henry, Tom said carefully. This doesn't change that you're her father. You raised her. You love her. Biology doesn't. I need to do a test, I said. My voice sounded distant. I need to know for sure. Tom nodded. I'll arrange it. But Henry, think carefully about when and how you want to handle this information. Emily just chose you over her mother's money. She doesn't need to know about this right now. I looked at the medical document again. 23 years of lies. 23 years of raising a daughter who shared Derek Chandler's DNA instead of mine. But Emily had stood beside me yesterday. She'd recorded her mother's cruelty and sent it to me. She called me Dad with love in her voice. You're right, I said finally. She doesn't need to know. Not yet. Maybe not ever. She's my daughter regardless of what some test says. 3 days after discovering Raymond's letters, I received a call that changed everything. I was at the shop, reviewing a contract for a new aerospace client, when my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Lane? This is Patricia Voss from Titanium Aerospace Industries. Do you have a few minutes? I stepped in my office. I do. What can I help you with? We've been impressed with the work your shop has done on our components, she said. We're expanding our precision manufacturing division, and we'd like to discuss bringing you on as Director of Quality Operations. It would be a significant role, overseeing multiple facilities, implementing standards across our supply chain. My pulse quickened. What kind of position are we talking about? 6-figure salary, full benefits package, relocation assistance to our headquarters in Colorado. The base salary would be $170,000 annually, plus performance bonuses. We know it's a big ask, but we believe you're the right person. I sat down heavily in my chair. This was the kind of opportunity that came once in a career. When would you need an answer? We'd like to move quickly, Patricia said. Could we schedule a formal interview for next week? Absolutely, I said. Send me the details. After the call ended, I sat there staring at my desk. The offer had been in discussion for over a month, but I hadn't told Brandy. Something had held me back, some instinct that told me to keep this card close to my chest. Now I understood why. If I'd mentioned it before she kicked me out, she'd be entitled to a portion of my future earnings in the divorce. But now, with the separation already in motion, this was mine alone. That evening, my phone buzzed with a notification. A court filing. Brandy had submitted a request for a restraining order against me, claiming she feared for her safety. The filing included photographs of bruises on her arms and a statement that I'd been increasingly aggressive and threatening. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Then I called Tom immediately. I just saw it, Tom said before I could speak. Don't panic. Do you have an alibi for the date she's claiming? I've been at the hotel for 4 days, I said. There are cameras everywhere. I haven't been near her. Perfect, Tom said. The hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Be there, and bring any documentation showing your whereabouts. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, anything with timestamps. The next afternoon, I stood in a courtroom for the first time in my life. The judge was a woman in her late 50s named Judge Rachel Cunningham, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Brandy sat with her attorney, looking composed and frightened in equal measure. Mrs. Lane, Judge Cunningham said, "You're alleging that your husband has been threatening and physically aggressive. Can you provide evidence?" Brandy's attorney stood. "Your Honor, we have photographs of bruising and a sworn statement from Mrs. Lane describing several incidents." "Mr. Lane," the judge said, turning to me. "How do you respond?" Tom stood. "Your Honor, Mr. Lane has been residing at the Hampton Inn since the evening of Tuesday, April 9th. He has not had contact with Mrs. Lane except through documented phone and text messages. We have hotel security footage, credit card receipts showing meals and purchases away from the marital home, and timestamp data from his workplace security system. The alleged incidents Mrs. Lane describes are physically impossible." Judge Cunningham reviewed the documents Tom submitted. Her expression hardened. "Mrs. Lane, these receipts show your husband was 20 miles away during the times you claim he assaulted you. Can you explain this discrepancy?" Brandy's face went pale. The dates might be wrong. It was traumatic, I may have." "Mrs. Lane," the judge interrupted, her voice cold. "Making false statements in a request for a restraining order is a serious matter. This order is denied. Furthermore, I'm noting in the record that this appears to be a malicious filing. If you waste this court's time again, there will be consequences." Brandy's attorney looked like he wanted to disappear. As we left the courtroom, I saw Brandy standing in the hallway, her face twisted with rage and humiliation. She tried to paint me as violent, and the judge had seen right through it. Tom pulled me aside. "That's going to hurt her credibility in the divorce proceedings. Judges don't forget when someone lies under oath." That evening, I called Patricia Voss back. "I'm very interested in the position," I said. "Let's schedule that interview." A week later, I sat in Tom's office as he laid out papers across his desk. The official estate valuation had been completed, and the numbers were finally clear. The estate was initially appraised at $1.2 million, Tom said, but that was a rough estimate. The actual breakdown is more complex. He pointed to the first document. 3 rental properties valued at $700,000 total. However, they have existing mortgages totaling $210,000. There's also deferred maintenance, roof repairs, HVAC replacements, estimated at another $80,000. "So the properties are worth about $400,000 net," I said. "Correct. Then there's the investment portfolio, stocks, bonds, some mutual funds. That's valued at $320,000. But Raymond had outstanding medical bills from his hospice care and final expenses totaling $60,000. There are also estate taxes." Tom pulled out a calculator. "After federal estate taxes, state taxes, outstanding debts, and mandatory legal fees, the liquid assets available to Brandy will be approximately $400,000. I leaned back. She told everyone it was millions. She told our daughters she'd be worth $5 to $7 million. She either didn't understand estate law, or she was deliberately exaggerating," Tom said. "And there's another factor. The will requires that the rental properties remain as affordable housing for 5 years. Brandy can't sell them, can't substantially raise the rents, and has to maintain them properly. Those properties will generate maybe $2,000 a month in net income after expenses. She's essentially locked into being a landlord for half a decade. $400,000 liquid and some rental income," I said. "Less than she stole from our joint accounts over 7 years. "Significantly less," Tom agreed. "And here's where it gets interesting." He pulled out another document. I did some checking. Brandy has been borrowing money. I found 3 personal loans totaling $65,000, all taken out in the past 2 months. She told the lender she had a major inheritance coming and used it as collateral. Who did she borrow from? 2 from friends, 1 from her brother. She promised them all 20% returns once the estate cleared. She's been spending like the money was already hers. I felt a cold satisfaction settle over me. So, when she gets $400,000 instead of millions, she'll have to immediately pay back $65,000 plus interest, leaving her with about $320,000, Tom said. And she's been living in that house without making mortgage payments for 2 months, claiming the estate would cover it. The bank is getting impatient. My phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number, forwarded by Tom's office. I opened it and saw a scan of a document, a lease agreement. Brandy had rented a luxury apartment in Columbus, a high-rise downtown. The lease was for 2 years at $4,000 a month. She signed this yesterday, Tom said. She's planning to move into a place that costs $96,000 over 2 years. She thinks she's rich. I did the math in my head. $320,000, minus the apartment lease, minus living expenses, minus maintaining the rental properties. In 2 years, Brandy would be close to broke. What about the shop? I asked. What's her claim on it? The business was established before the marriage, Tom said. But the growth during the marriage could be considered marital property. However, given the evidence of her theft and the fact that you can prove she systematically drained marital assets, I think we can argue for a minimal division. You might have to buy her out for $50,000 to $75,000. Maybe less, given her behavior. And my new job offer? Colorado is a fresh start, Tom said. The salary begins after the separation date. It's yours alone. She has no claim to it. I sat there, pieces falling into place. Brandy had destroyed our marriage for an inheritance she'd wildly overestimated. She'd borrowed against money she didn't have yet. She'd rented an apartment she couldn't afford. And she'd done it all while believing I'd be left with nothing. That evening, I was back at the hotel when my phone rang. It was Derek Chandler, my former best friend. I stared at the name for 3 rings, then answered. Henry, he said, his voice uncertain. We need to talk. I don't think we do, I said calmly. Look, I know things are complicated right now with you and Brandy. Complicated, I repeated. That's an interesting word choice, Derek. There was a pause. She told me you know. I know you've been sleeping with my wife for over a decade, I said. My voice was steady, controlled. I know you stood up as best man at my wedding while planning to betray me. I know my daughter Emily is biologically yours. Henry, I'm going to say this once. I interrupted. You stay away from me. You stay away from my daughters. If I see you, if you contact me, I will make sure everyone in our industry knows exactly what kind of man you are. Am I clear? You can't. Am I clear? I repeated, harder this time. Yes, Derek said quietly. I hung up and blocked his number. Then I opened my email and began drafting my acceptance letter to Titanium Aerospace Industries. 2 weeks after the restraining order hearing, I received a call from Mia. Her voice was tight, barely controlled. Dad, I did something, she said. I need you to know before Mom finds out. What happened? I asked. I want to see her yesterday, Mia said. I brought Emily with me. We confronted her about everything. The affair with Derek, the money she stole, the lies about you being violent. We recorded the whole conversation. My chest tightened. Mia, you didn't have to. Yes, I did, she interrupted. We both did. And Dad, she admitted everything. She didn't even try to deny it. She just said we were too young to understand, and that we'd thank her someday. Where's the recording now? I asked. I'm sending it to you and to Tom. But there's more. She told us that if we choose you over her, we're cut off completely. No money from our medical school. Nothing. She actually said, choose wisely. I heard Emily's voice in the background. We already chose, Dad. We chose you. That evening, I listened to the recording in Tom's office. Brandy's voice came through crystal clear, cold and calculating. When Mia asked her directly about Derek Chandler, Brandy laughed. Derek and I have been together for 11 years, she said on the recording. Your father never suspected a thing. He was always so trusting, so naive. It made everything easier. What about the money you took from Dad? Emily asked. That was mine to take, Brandy replied. I earned it by wasting my life married to him. Every dollar I transferred was payment for years of mediocrity. And Emily? Mia pressed. Is she even Dad's daughter? There was a pause on the recording. Then Brandy's voice came back, sharper. That's none of your concern. Answer the question, Emily said, her voice shaking. Fine, Brandy said. No, Emily is Derek's daughter. I've known since before she was born. But Henry never questioned it. And it was better that way. Better for everyone. The recording continued, but I'd heard enough. Tom stopped it and looked at me. This is devastating evidence, he said. Between this, the financial records, and her failed restraining order, she's destroyed any credibility she had. What happens now? I asked. We file for divorce officially, citing adultery and financial fraud. We submit all evidence, the recordings, the bank statements, Raymond's letters. We push for a settlement that's heavily in your favor. Given everything we have, I think she'll settle rather than go to trial. 3 days later, Brandy's attorney called Tom, requesting a settlement conference. They knew they were beaten. The settlement came together quickly after that. Brandy received her inheritance, reduced by taxes and debts, to $400,000. I received the house, my business free and clear, and a return of $150,000 of the stolen money. She kept the rental properties with all their headaches and restrictions. The divorce would be finalized in 60 days. I accepted the position with Titanium Aerospace. The pay was better than I'd imagined possible, and Colorado offered a fresh start. I sold the house and most of the furniture. Too many memories, none of them worth keeping. 2 weeks before my move to Colorado, I had dinner with both my daughters. We met at a small Italian restaurant, the kind with red checkered tablecloths and candles and wine bottles. Mia and Emily sat across from me, both of them looking older somehow, more certain. I found a program at University of Colorado that will cover most of my remaining tuition, Mia said. I applied last week. If I get in, I'll be close to you, Dad. You apply to transfer? I asked. I'm not staying here, she said firmly. Not near her. Colorado sounds like exactly what I need. Emily reached across the table and took my hand. I know about the DNA test, she said quietly. I froze. Emily, Tom's assistant accidentally copied me on an email, she said. I saw the results. I know Derek Chandler is my biological father. Emily, it doesn't change anything, I said, my voice breaking slightly. You're my daughter. You'll always be my daughter. I know, she said, tears in her eyes. That's what I came to tell you. You raised me. You taught me right from wrong. You showed me what a good man looks like. Derek Chandler donated some DNA. You gave me everything else. You're my dad. That's never going to change. I couldn't speak. I just held her hand and let the moment settle around us. We're a family, Mia said. The three of us. That's what matters. Not her, not Derek, not the money. Just us. 8 months later, I stood in my new apartment in Denver, looking out at the Rocky Mountains in the distance. The view still surprised me every morning. Colorado had been good to me. The job was challenging and rewarding. The people were professional, and the salary had changed my life completely. My phone buzzed with a message from Mia. See you tonight at 7. Emily's flight lands at 6:15. We're cooking for you, so don't eat lunch. I smiled. Mia had been accepted to the University of Colorado School of Medicine and had started classes 2 months ago. She was thriving in a program that appreciated her dedication. Emily visited once a month, flying out from Ohio where she was finishing her undergraduate degree. That evening, I arrived at Mia's apartment to find both my daughters in the kitchen, arguing cheerfully about pasta sauce while music played in the background. The normality of it, the warmth, hit me harder than expected. Dad, Emily called out, rushing over to hug me. You're early. Traffic was light, I said, hugging her back tightly. Dinner was chaotic and perfect. We talked about Mia's anatomy class, Emily's upcoming graduation, my latest project at Titanium Aerospace. Nobody mentioned Brandy. She'd become irrelevant to our lives, a chapter we closed. After dinner, as we sat with coffee, Mia cleared her throat. We have something to tell you, Dad. I looked between them. What's going on? We organized something, Emily said. For next weekend. A dinner. We invited Tom, and a few of your new colleagues from Titanium, and the friend you mentioned who helped you get settled here. You're throwing me a dinner party? I asked. Not exactly, Mia said. It's more of a celebration. We wanted to do something to honor you, Dad. To say thank you for showing us what integrity looks like. For choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. You don't need to thank me, I said. You're my daughters. We know, Emily said. But we want to. You lost a wife who didn't deserve you, a friend who betrayed you, and 27 years of what you thought was your life. But you never lost yourself. You never became bitter or cruel. You just kept being you. Honest, strong, decent. That's worth celebrating. The dinner the following weekend was held at a restaurant with mountain views and excellent steaks. Tom flew out from Ohio, joking that he couldn't miss this. 3 colleagues from Titanium came, people I'd gotten to know over the past months. My neighbor Dave, who'd helped me move furniture and navigate Denver, brought his wife. Mia stood and raised her glass. I want to say something, she began. 8 months ago, my father's life fell apart. His wife betrayed him, his best friend betrayed him. Everything he thought was solid turned out to be sand. But he didn't fall apart. He documented everything, trusted the process, and fought for what was right. Dad, you taught Emily and me that character isn't what you do when life is easy. It's what you do when everything goes wrong. You showed us how to walk through fire without becoming ash. Emily stood next. When I found out about my biology, I was scared you'd see me differently. But you didn't. You just held my hand and told me I was yours, no matter what any test said. That's what a father does. Not the man who contributed DNA, but the man who shows up every single day. Thank you for showing up for us, Dad. Always. I looked around the table at these people, my daughters, my attorney who became a friend, my new colleagues who barely knew my history, but had come anyway. These are my people now. This was my life. I didn't do anything special, I said when I could finally speak. I just refused to let someone else's betrayal change who I am. I refused to become bitter or vengeful. And I held on to the two most important things in my life, my daughters and my self-respect. Tom raised his glass. To Henry Lane, a man who won by refusing to play dirty. Everyone drank to that, and I felt something settle deep in my chest. Not happiness exactly, but something better. Peace. Certainty. The knowledge that I'd come through the fire and hadn't compromised myself in the process. Later that night, as I drove home through Denver's quiet streets, I thought about Brandy. I'd heard through mutual acquaintances that she was struggling. The rental properties were proving difficult to manage. Her relationship with Derek had fallen apart when the money proved less impressive than he'd expected. She'd had to move out of the luxury apartment she couldn't afford. I didn't feel satisfaction at her troubles. I didn't feel anything at all. She'd become a stranger, someone I used to know, someone who'd made choices that led her to where she was now. I pulled into my parking spot and looked up at the mountains, dark against the starlit sky. Tomorrow I'd go to work on projects that challenged me. Tomorrow evening I'd video call with Emily about her graduation plans. This weekend Mia and I would hike one of the trails she'd been wanting to try. I'd lost a wife who never valued me. I'd gained daughters who chose me every single day. I'd lost a business that was comfortable. I'd gained a career that pushed me to grow. I'd lost a life built on lies. I'd gained a life built on truth. As I walked to my apartment, keys in hand, I realized something important. Brandy had tried to destroy me with her betrayal. Instead, she'd freed me to become who I was always meant to be. And that was the greatest victory of all.